That's a very interesting question to me. I look at creativity beyond the bounds of typical artistic experiences. I don't call myself an artist by any stretch of the imagination. I'm in the School of Education, and I look at creativity as ways to establish relationships across, among, between ways of understanding the world. I had the opportunity over the last couple of years to develop a class on international education that asks students to think about education as it stands in the United States, but also to address issues of education in West Africa, Benin, and in Paris. And then I take the students to Paris, I take the students to Benin, and we ground the experience, ground our theoretical discussions in the reality of what the schools are like there. And what's so fabulously creative about that is this course does not just draw students from education, but it draws students from all across the university. We have students of business, we have students of graphic design, we have students of anthropology, political science, history, foreign language, you name it, we get students who come to this class. And what I specifically like about that, what I see it in terms of creativity, is that the nature of this course, because it pulls students from across academic disciplines, that it gives them opportunities to talk, to integrate visions, integrate perspectives of what the world is like. So as they're exploring the world, as they're having conversations, they're understanding the world through very different lenses. Creativity, for me, is the development of those broad understandings. How does a graphic designer look at what's going on in the world and explain that to students who are studying education? How do students who are studying education explain their understanding of classrooms to business students who have a different understanding of success? In terms of memorability, this is powerful because it creates opportunities for learning. It creates different ways of interacting, and it allows people to go out into the world more open to understanding the various lenses that we create, through which we create knowledge. It forces me, it impacts me because it forces me to interact with faculty across the campus. It forces me to say, wait a minute, I don't understand that perspective. Can you help me understand that? It makes me broader in how I teach. When students from the arts, when students from business, when students from the sciences come on this trip and say, wait a minute, this is not how we understood the world, it gives me the space to look at my own teaching and look at my own understanding and say, that's a new way of reacting to this. That's a new way of responding. That's a new way of seeing, visioning, and making sense of. So creativity, broadly speaking, is the only way for any of us to make sense of what we're seeing. Creativity is how we integrate all these different fields to learn about the world. The Dorsey Grant is fabulous because that's exactly what it's asking us to do. It's asking us to bring in artists and then create opportunities throughout the 4 colleges on campus, throughout all of our classes, to make sense of these arts through a variety of lenses. If we're looking at, for example, neighborhoods, as an educator, my concern is how does this impact, how do understanding all these different neighborhoods help us reach the different students that we're trying to teach? At the same time, the business student, the business faculty is going to look at these neighborhoods and say, how do we support schools? How do we support opportunities? How do we ensure that the different neighborhoods needs and financial resources are being used appropriately to allow schools, for example, to thrive and to grow. Um, s- I, I- I can't even begin to describe all the wonderful things, all the wonderful conversations that the Doris Duke grant would allow us to have across faculty, across students, across professional staff, across every community that is here on campus.